Romance at a glance. Romance at a glance.
What you say now?
Romance at a glance.
Go ahead, girl.
Hello and welcome to Romance at a Glance. Before we get started, we want to give the biggest shout out to our newest patron, Catherine C. Catherine, we appreciate you. Welcome to the family. It gets really nasty here and the water is warm, mostly because I peed in it. We are so happy to have you. And to all our patrons, your support means everything to us because without it, this podcast just doesn't happen. So without further ado, let's get into our episode.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Romance at a Glance. I'm your host, Bridget. With me, as always, is my co-host, Shani. Hey, Shani.
Hey, Bridge. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. You guys, this originally was going to be Gifting Me to His Best Friend by Katee Robert. As you guys remember, I was super excited about it because I love Katee Robert. I love how smutty her books are. She's so great at writing erotica. And obviously, this is the steamy season that I was gifting to Shani. And I was like, he's gifting her to his best friend. It was the perfect thing. But the audiobook did not come out in time because of COVID. Silly COVID getting in the way of all of our good plans. Mm-hmm. And so here we are. And I was like, I got to sub a different one of her books because she's for sure going to be in the season. And I decided, because of Beauty and the Beast, if you guys recall, my justification was that it snows in that movie. And so I was like, Christmas movie.
Absolutely.
Holiday movie. It snows. Holiday. And here we are, Shani. Here we are.
It's been a good season. I mean, I feel really good. I feel really taken care of. I really feel like you held my hand through this nasty, gooey, amazing season. I feel like this book was a nasty, gooey explosion.
It was.
And I'm grateful for you, Bridget. I just want you to know. I just want you to know from the depths of my soul. Every day I think about you and I go, you know what? I'm grateful for Bridget.
I think about you every day too, and I'm grateful for you, Shani. In all seriousness, I love you.
In all seriousness, I'm like, I love you, girl. Okay, so just FYI, listeners, I have not seen Bridget in a minute just because I am quarantining because my partner had a secondary exposure. So to make sure everything's okay, doing testing, all that stuff. So I haven't seen Bridget for a few days. And I'm like, I want to see Bridget. I feel like a little kid, like one of those little kid memes. I'm like, I want to see my friend. Mama, she won't let me go see my friend. I want to go see my friend.
That's how I feel too. Tonight, my husband was like, oh, what time is Shani getting here? And I was like, she's not coming. We're going to see each other on the internet. And he's like, oh. I was like, someone that they know had COVID. Maybe, but they're not sure. So I have to stay at home. It's like Shani's mom will let her come out to play. I was all ornery about it. He's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, thank you. I appreciate that because he knows that I like to see you. You know why he also likes that you come over and now is that I'm just in a much better mood after I see you because I love seeing you. You guys make me happy. So I think he appreciates that because as we've talked about on this podcast before, you guys, me and Shani talk about this a lot in real life. Not every person can't, one person can't be all the things that you need. Yeah. And so he appreciates that you fill a different need for me than he can fill. Yeah. And so he doesn't then have to try and fill something that he's just not the right person to fill. And so it's great.
And it's why should he, Because girlfriends there's a place for girlfriends.
It's a good purpose. And there's a place for friends. And when there's a place for friends that's separate than your partner.
Exactly. And also sometimes you don't want your partner even there. You're like, okay, you go away now. My friend is here.
Shoot. Shani bought some Reese's. Shoot. And he's like, do you guys want lunch? And I'm like, shoot, you're in our space. Go away. We're working.
And I'm like, tacos?
Get us tacos and bring them back. That's what happened. Shani and Leo just contrived behind my back about tacos. And I was like, you guys, I really don't care. Please leave me out of it. If you guys want food, just figure it out.
No, Bridget hit us with we have food in the fridge. I was like,
that's a mom thing to say.
Such a mom thing to say.
We do have food. We do have so much food in our fridge all the time.
Who told you to come to this party? You're like that person who came to the party with potato salad with raisins in it. I was like, we getting tacos, Bridget. Stop trying to get me to eat the leftover Costco chicken.
Shani leans over and she goes, Bridget, we're ordering tacos. And I was like, fine, I don't care. Just don't. I don't want to pick them up. I don't want to be involved in ordering. You guys know what I like to eat, so you two figure it out. So, despite the fact that we aren't together, we're together over the internet in spirit. And we are here to talk about The Beast by Katee Robert.
Yes.
Did you guys catch the interview with Katee on Tuesday? Because it was wonderful. She's awesome. Also, you guys, she writes a metric fuck ton every month, and it's inspiring.
That is a legal measurement.
Legal measurement.
Legal measurement.
It's a technical term.
Technical term.
Metric fuck ton. Technical. Mm-hmm.
Yo.
Also, you guys, I have to say that I look smashing today
You
on
really
our
do,
video
though.
chat.
Did you do something to your hair?
Good. I did cut the back.
Because it looks different. It also looks darker. Maybe that's just because the lights are low.
I think it's because of the green, like the dark green walls, and that's it's nighttime.
You know I like you with dark hair. You looking mad mysterious.
I know. I'm looking very pale too because the like computer is shining on my face.
You do got a goth.
Very pale.
You got a goth thing going on.
Anywho, that's a quick side note about how good I look. If you guys are looking at the Instagram stories, you will see how delightful I look right now.
Delightful. I do love a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I've read a few of them, and I'm always here for the story because I think it was probably the number one. There's like 3 movies in my life that I can say like, I should have known I was kinky
formative.
When, or like very formative in my like sexual growth.
Yeah.
As a kid, not knowing what that was, and the Beast was definitely one of them. I was in love with the Beast as the Beast, not when he transforms back into a man.
No, fucking weird ass looking dude.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that with Katee too, and I love that she was on our team.
Yeah.
And was like, no, I wanted him to be the Beast.
She was like, who wanted him to be human?
No,
Tony
so
lit wallflowers.
Yeah. Calling you out, Tony.
Calling you out, Tony.
We know it was you. We know it was you. Yeah, I loved the Beauty of the Beast. I guess I should have known something was going on because Simba, the Beast, and Aladdin are my 3 favorite heroes of Disney movies. I don't like any of the actual princes. I just like the 2 animals, and then the very cocky, funny, cocksure, like, fun one who's like jumping through the rafters.
Yeah. So I had a very like an aha moment the other day because I totally forgot this. The other movie that I watched as a kid that should have told me that I was hella kinky was The Princess Bride. Okay.
Oh, he gets tied up.
When he gets tied down to the suction machine or whatever.
Yeah.
I rewound that scene so many times, Bridget. And I would sneak to watch that scene, and I have all these tingles that I didn't know what they were, but I loved that scene. And it just came back to me. I'm like, holy cow, I forgot how many times I watched. I was like, yeah, tie him down.
I think, Shawnee, in another sexual life, I would have been a dominatrix. I think if I had met the right person at the right time, I think that could have been part of my journey.
First of all, I think
my husband has too many trust issues to be tied up. He doesn't want to be tied up by me. I keep being like, I promise I won't do anything that's on the no list. I promise. But he's like, I don't know. He has like weird things. He does not want to be tied up. And I respect that. Some people don't want to be tied up. And I'm like, you can tie me up. Let's try it.
I liked being tied up. I do shibari with my partner. And I really like it. It was actually really helpful for me to like get back into my body. But it's interesting because I at all identify as somebody who is attracted to women. However, when it comes to topping, like, so basically being a dominatrix or a D-type or whatever, like, I'd love to top women because in general, there's nothing inherently sexual about topping someone. A lot of times, no sex is actually involved in that at all. It's a power play. So, like, it reminds me, the thought of, like, topping a woman reminds me of, like, being with my sisters when I was a kid. Like playing, because we used to like wrestle and like we used to go hard, all the girls in my family. So like to me it's like playtime. I'm like, yes. And it's like psychological play. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
This sounds like a lot of, like, it just sounds like fun to me. Yeah. Now, stepping my toe into that pond, that sounds like the cautious Shawnee. would take a long...
Too much.
Yeah, well,
Kasha Shani is like, I don't know if I want to.
Yeah,
I'm
like
scared.
like it would take
I'm so scared.
the warm up that it would take. I'm like, one, I'd have to have somebody who I felt comfortable enough to play with, who I felt comfortable enough to like whatever. And a friend of mine's girlfriend offered, and I was like, see, you're my friend's girlfriend, and if I fuck you up, then see, I feel like it's too close.
Yeah, I would want someone to be there to like watch me to make sure I wasn't like overstepping, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I would want someone there to police me, basically. Not that I think that I would like on purpose do, because I certainly wouldn't on purpose cross any boundaries, but I feel like if I gave myself over to that mentality of like whatever the kink is that you're exploring, if it's like shame or humiliation or spanking or whatever the thing may be, I feel like if you give yourself over to that mindset, I would want someone, especially like if I ever did it in like the early times, I would want someone there who was like throwing a flag on the play, like, hey, not cool. Yeah. And I'd be like, oh, not cool? Too far? Okay, my bad. Let's stop. Let's do a little aftercare. Let's reset for tomorrow. Let's try. Because
that's why she offered, because she's, I don't know if they call it a power bottom or whatever, but she's a very experienced like bottom. So she would be able to give me active tips as
like feedback
as it's going on. You don't want to do it with somebody who's not experienced.
Right.
But you know what? Yeah. I do like all the BDSM play and shit in this book.
Let's get into it.
Let's get it popping.
Okay, you guys, Shani brought us back to life. And as you guys know, we're talking about The Beast by Katee Robert. This is book number 4 of the Wicked Villains series. So, guys, the other Wicked Villains are doing Jafar and Princess Jasmine. She's doing Hook and Tinkerbell. She's doing... so she's talking about Aurora from Sleeping Beauty and Maleficent, who has a slightly different name. Ursula gets a book. Guys,
wait a minute.
These books are...
Wait a minute. Is Aurora and Maleficent's book like a lesbian book?
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
Female.
Okay.
Yeah, so this book is male, female. And all of them are in like the kink BDSM world because they're all villains, guys. Hello.
Nice.
And each one has a different set of pairings. So some of them have multiple people. Lots of people get involved. Some of them only have the main couple. In this book, it's male, female for the main couples, triad couple. But they also fuck around with some other folk.
I like this.
Yes.
More the merrier.
How did you feel about the cover of this book, Shani?
So I actually really like the cover of this book. It doesn't have any naked people. It doesn't have any abs. It doesn't have, I wouldn't necessarily say that this cup on the cover of this book told me what was happening, but I was intrigued. Right. I was like, what is this tankard that says the Beast? And it's like really dark and it almost looks like the Matrix, like in terms of like the black and kind of greenish. And so I actually thought that the book garnered interest. Like, I'm like, what's this about?
Yes. I thought so too. I think it definitely leans more into the like fantasy element of the book. So when you look at it, you're like, ooh, this could just like, you get the idea, or at least I did, from like the tankard that you're like, oh, that looks like a Beauty and the Beast tankard sort of thing. Yeah. And if you look at the whole series, you know, like Jafar's book has the snake on it. Captain Hook's has a hook.
Yeah.
So I liked that each one had
like an item from the story.
The same vibe, an item from the story. The Sea Witch has a tentacle. So it's like, yeah, I thought the colors were nice. I was for it.
I do love a theme. I do love a theme.
I love a theme. I love a good theme. I love a good theme. Also, I really liked this book, guys. I'm going to just spoil the ending for you. I really liked this book. Katee Robert is fast becoming one of my new favorite romance authors. I think I've read like 5 of her books now. Yeah. And right before we started recording this, her novella Sacrifice just hit my LA Public Library Kindle downloads. And I am thrilled because that's what I'm going to do tonight.
I can see how excited you are about this book, Bridget. Like,
I just like her. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a quick synopsis, just in case you haven't read it. So, Isabelle loved 2 men and lost them with her inability to choose one of them. But after her father and their ruler dies, they leave her alone. Sent by her sister, the new queen, to bring the generals back, Isabelle is willing to do whatever it takes to make Gaeton and Beast come with her to keep their kingdom safe from the encroaching sea witch. She heads to Carver City, renowned BDSM club, to retrieve them, entering into a 2-week sex pact. At the end of 2 weeks, you must choose one of them once and for all, and they'll both come back willingly to defend the territory. But what happens when they all rip off the civil faces they've been hiding behind and unleash their darkest desires on one another? Dun, dun, dun.
dun, dun, dun.
I'm going to tell you what happens. Shit gets freaky, and it gets real sexy. That's what happens.
It does get freaky. Things get licked and people get spanked. Yeah, people get spanked.
Spank him. Spank him. Spank him. It's time to get spanked.
Oh,
okay,
man.
so first of all, this book starts out with a literal bang. So, like, I think they're, like, all having sex within, I don't know, 30 pages? 25
Sure.
pages?
I mean, it was really quick. I don't know an audio time, but it was less than, it was 30 minutes into the audio at least.
Yeah. And, like, I loved it because she goes to the BDSM club to get them. And as she's going through the club, she's, like, looking around, like, the way that we would be. We're like, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, trying to stay focused, staying focused, ooh. And they take her to this back room. And one thing I really liked about the book is that very early on, she says in her mind, she's like, oh, like, if this is what they're into, then I never really knew them at all.
Yeah.
Because they always had very vanilla, like, safe sex with me. And even though I tried to, like, get them interested in some other stuff, they always, like, treated me like a princess. She is a princess, but treated me like a princess.
Yeah. And
once they realize how turned on she is by, like, the humiliation and the shame and the whole just everything about it, the possibility of being caught, the spanking, just everything, they're like, oh, we did her a disservice because we treated her like a princess instead of listening to what she was trying to, like, move us towards.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great because that was, like, the central theme, at least for me, of the book was them being honest about who they are and what their needs were and overcoming some, like, assumptions. Because, like, it definitely rocks all of their worlds. Like, oh, shit, like, you like that? Oh, well, like, that you're not who I thought you were.
The book did start off with a bang. One, I liked her interaction with the woman at the door initially.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like that conversation set the tone for the book. Like, I could hear the author, like, I don't know how to explain that, but I could hear what kind of author I was in for with the conversation at the door. Which is like,
yeah, so she's basically saying, like, why are you here? You shouldn't be here. They don't want you here.
yeah. And don't play with me.
And then she's like, well, and don't play with me. And if you're going to be here, you're going to follow the rules or I'm going to kick you the fuck out.
Yeah.
And, like, she definitely laid down the law of the club.
Yeah, which I liked a lot. So the one thing about the story is that I felt like I was being dropped into the middle of a book. Like, the story, there was a lot of stuff that they were talking about from previous books that we weren't really privy to and that we were trying to play catch up on. And aside from, like, the steaminess of the book in general, I felt like this book needed to be a novella and not a full-on book. Like, it needed to be, like, book 4.5 between 4 and 5. Like, I didn't feel like there was enough, I don't know, meat of story for me in this book. But I thought this book was hot as fuck. And
I do think I would recommend reading them sequentially, to your point.
Yeah.
Because all of the books hover in, like, the 200 to 250 range. So they're not very long books. Which obviously, that's not true. Some of them are 300 pages. I would say 200 to 300 pages. And certainly in this book, you meet Tinkerbell and Hook. And it's clear that they obviously have had a past relationship with not only Gaeton, but also Beast. And I think we would have had some more insight on their backstories had we already read the Tinkerbell and Hook book.
Yeah, exactly. I
would recommend starting at Desperate Measures, which, guys, Katee Robert is raffling off this week. Last day.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Get your book. But, like, I don't like the feeling of when I feel like, I should have read the beginning books, or like, where's that coming from, or what's happening, or now they're talking about somebody that he was in love with that's now gone forever, and will you leave again? I'm like, who's this person? Should I know them from a previous book? I don't like that feeling in books, especially if you bill your book as a standalone.
I don't think this book was billed as a standalone. I just chose it because I thought you would like it.
Well, if it was not billed as a standalone.
And also, it was the only one, like, obviously Jafar and Jasmine don't fit into a Christmas theme, so this was the one I could make fit. It is not billed as a standalone.
Okay. Well, then if it's not billed as a standalone, then it's fine, because to me it doesn't stand alone. Like, there's a lot of other stuff going on. It's
definitely a series.
Okay.
And the thing, I think the people, so the past relationship that he's talking about, I believe, is leading to her next series, which is going to revisit that character and some of the other characters. So it's going to be about Carver City, like where the BDSM club is, and be. So I think that one, you're not actually supposed to know about it. I think that one's like pitching a future, like, pitching the future series, if that makes sense.
Got you. Well,
which is coming out.
Yeah. Well, so that's how I felt about that. Now, past that, now that out of the way.
Hot.
I love how the book starts off with their first encounter. Yeah. One, I was like, yes. The guys are separated in the room. When she comes, she's like trying to maneuver to get them, into the position she wants. And then I like when Beast is like, look, if you want something from us, then basically you have to be our, like, unfettered hoe for 2 weeks. We get to do whatever the fuck we want. And he asked her, condoms, no condoms. She was like, I'm on the birth control, or whatever. So no condoms. I was like, oof. You're starting off strong for me. For me. Let me tell you right now. Because I know that safe sex is important. But in books,
very important.
I love when the cum is flowing. I love it.
I also love when it's explained and it's like mentioned once and then they never bring it back up.
Yeah.
I just need you to establish, like we've talked about this, guys, in past podcasts, worth repeating. I just need you to establish, are their condoms important or not important? And then you don't really ever need to mention them again.
Yeah.
All you need to say is like, rip the foil. You don't need to, and then like, I already know it's like the condom's on. Yeah. Okay, great.
The crinkle.
Like, I don't need.
The crinkle. I heard the crinkle.
Yeah, I don't need like a whole, every single time there's a whole conversation. It's like, no, either there's condoms or there's no condoms. And I liked that it was very clear at the beginning. She's like, I'm on the pill. You can raw dog this. And they're like, yeah. I also like that they talked about the consent. And he was like, Gaeton was like, well, unless she says yes, like I'm not into kink, like non-consent is not a kink of mine. Yeah. And she says yes. And in his mind, Beast is like, it was enough. It has to be enough. It only measures, I think I wrote down the quote. I know this is what he says. It's enough. It has to be enough. BDSM only works if there's a measure of trust involved. And if I don't trust her to use her safe word, then I have no business being in this room. And I liked that not only did they like demand that she say yes to the agreement, which they pressured her into, but also they demanded that she be willing to protect herself within the agreement, which I liked.
I like that a lot. And it shows that you can have this like
freaky ass shit
because like legitimately this has the feeling of dark romance, but it's not dark romance. So you get that fix, but there's all the consent is there, like all the safety things are there. A little bit.
There's a lot of love.
Yeah, but the one thing I did think was kind of like, I don't know if it's iffy or funny or whatever, but Beast, his seduction of Gaeton, like when he decides that he gonna have him, like, and then his maneuverings and stuff, I was just like, ooh, woof. Tell me, Beast, what's gonna happen?
So at the beginning, they basically tell her, you have to choose one of us once and for all. That's the deal at the end of 2 weeks. And she's basically like, I could never choose before. How am I going to choose now? I love you both. And so Beast ends up fucking Gaeton as a punishment to her because she doesn't listen to them while they're in like a sexual setting. So they have her laid out on the bed. Gaeton is on top of her, but not fucking her.
Not fucking her.
And just like getting her to the edge, but never bringing her over. And then Beast is fucking Gaeton on top of her. So hot. And she's just like writhing, like, please, someone. And no one will do it because it's her punishment. And I was like, this hot as fuck. And then Beast literally is like, wait a minute. I think I should just keep them both. How come I only get one? I want two.
Yeah.
And so then the whole rest of the book, he's seducing Gaeton to like love him too. And it's great. I loved it.
Yeah, it is. And then, and you know, I think to Katie's credit, I mean, she's got a really dirty mind. I mean, the scenarios, you know, with Beast and Gaeton setting up the scenario for Isabelle, where, you know, I guess she had one, actually, Katie talked about this in the interview, that she has a bit of a shame kink, which is kind of cool. But they set it up for her to, like, come to the club and she's got to, like, mess with whoever offers her a drink first or whatnot. And they know that she has the, like, want or need to play with a woman. So they set that up for her as well, but she has to sneak away to be with this woman, and it's part of the game, so everybody's in on it. But I think there was a bit of,
because she has a desire to be caught and be bad and then be punished for being bad,
exactly, as part of her kink. So they set it up for her, and that, I mean, that scene was very, very dirty and so good, and like it reminds me a little bit of like L.J. Shen, and the fact that, like, if the book is dirty enough for me, I forget that I wanted a plot. And
and this book is erotic. I mean, this book is not like this book is not for junior, you know, I want a closed door romance lovers.
No YA.
Like, this book is erotic as fuck. Yeah. Guys, do you want to step into Bridget's sexy corner real quick? Because I will read the scene that Shawnee's talking about.
Absolutely. Bridget's sexy corner.
Okay, you ready? So, this is Aurora. And Aurora wants to also fuck Isabelle. And so Aurora offers to buy her a drink, and they sneak off into the closet. And she says, "What will they do if they come in here and my tongue is in your pussy? When you look up and keep riding my face, even though they're watching, because you're so close, you can't stop." She says, "I don't care. I just need you to make me come." And I was like, "Oh, girl, they gonna catch you. You gonna like it.
You gonna like it. They gonna spank you. You gonna be in trouble.
They gonna spank
you gonna be in so much trouble."
And then they do. They walk in and like them walk in on them fucking, and then they take them out into like the public room to punish them.
Yeah.
And both of them are like totally into it. And they're like, this is supposed to be a punishment. They're both so turned on. And he's like, stop squirming. And they don't care. And then they both get the life fucked out of them.
I would really like the life fucked out of me. Like,
yes. I was like, they treated Isabelle right. They were like, they were just ringing her out every day. Just ringing her out. What do you got? Just ring you out.
No, it's funny. My partner always says, like, as a joke, he's like, "Do I need to beat you?" And I'm always like, "Yes. Yes, you do."
Yes. Put me in my place. Put me there. I'm going to fight back, but put me there. Hilarious. I liked their... Okay, so Beast is obviously like the dom of the three of them.
Yeah.
And, or not obviously, I guess if you haven't read the book yet, but if you've read the book, it's obvious. And one thing I liked was that he ends up telling them a fantasy. So she tells them her fantasies early on, and they realize like, oh, they didn't know her. But then he, as part of his way almost of telling Gaeton, like, hey, I've liked you this whole time, I just kind of hid it from myself. At one point, he walks in on them fucking, and he doesn't leave. He, like, watches them.
Yeah.
And what he says is, I wanted to go in, and I wanted to punish you both for fucking me fucking behind my back, and then fuck you both. And so they, like, gift him with that.
Yeah.
So they he goes in the other room and they start fooling around and they're like, no, we shouldn't. Like, he's going to come in. Like, and they're like playing in the scenario together too. And he's like, well, let's just slip it in just quick, you know, like,
real quick.
And so they're fucking, and then he walks in and, you know, they get to act it out. And I liked that because he got to be vulnerable in that as well, which I liked, that he wasn't just like the ultimate badass beast, but that he also was the one who like reached out and was like, but why can't it work, Gaeton? Like, why can't I keep you too? And I liked that.
Yeah. I thought that was sweet. I liked that Beast was trying to like woo Gaeton. And
yeah.
You know, I mean, in general, Isabelle kind of, she got on my nerves a bit. But I actually really loved Beast and Gaeton more than I liked the inclusion of Isabelle in the threesome. I don't know why. I just thought
theirs was very sweet because it was like they were both more unsure. Like, they both knew she loved them already. But they hadn't like opened up that avenue between themselves.
You know what
yet.
it is? It's something you've talked about before, right? Where like we don't like the second chance at love trope. So Isabelle was a second chance at love.
Yep.
But Gaeton and Beast were not. They were a first time at love. So I was way more invested in them and cared way less about Isabelle in the process.
That makes sense. I actually thought Gaeton was my least favorite character because, as you know, I don't like pussy ass bitch, and I felt like he was the pussy ass bitch of the three of them. in the sense of not because he's the bottom, but because
he was a pussy ass bitch. You're right. He kept his waffling and his like.
He was waffling, and he kept like, you know, I obviously didn't like when he like shamed her for having a kink early on, which Beast like set him down for hard and was like, you can't shame her for her kink. Like, that's fucked up. Yeah. And he comes back and he apologizes. But I also feel like she like puts her heart out there and apologizes. And Beast puts his heart out there and he's like, but I don't know. And they're like, dude, we're telling you it's going to be work and we love each other. And he's like, but I don't know. And I was like, man,
get it together.
Pab. These two sexy ass people want to fuck you for the rest of your life. You say, thank you, Jesus, and go on your way.
Thank you, baby Jesus.
Thank you, baby Jesus. Thank you. I was like, that man is sucking on your testicles while you're fucking somebody else.
First of all, that's sucking on the testicles.
Thank you, baby Jesus. And go on your way. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about that.
I love the three of them fucking. Let's just talk about that as like just a general.
Tell me your favorite one. What was your favorite of their? Because they had a lot of good fucking scenes.
Actually, my favorite was the dirty talk in the book. No, the dirt. You know me. Like, I could just.
Shawnee, I'm telling you,
from dirty talk.
You gotta listen to Your Dad Will Do.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna listen to it. It's not out yet, though, right?
It is out.
It is?
Yeah, Gifting Me to His Best Friend is not out. But Your Dad Will Do is out. The only reason I didn't choose Your Dad Will Do because it's like, again, not at all related to Christmas. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this one because I can make it work in Christmas.
No, there's no audiobook of Your Dad Will Do.
I thought there was.
No. Well, maybe I spelled her name wrong. Let me try it again. Yeah, there's no audiobook of Your Dad Will Do.
Oh, I thought that one.
Because I will listen to it.
Girl. Oh, maybe it's in the works. I know it's in the works. She told me that.
Anyway, when it comes out.
Maybe it's not out.
First of all, I'll just tell you in general, whatever I care about the story of these books or not, the smut, I will always pick up a Katee Roberts. I'll pick it up in a heartbeat. Yes. I'll pick it up. Yes. I'll pick it up. I'll put it down. I'll pick it back up again. Let me tell you right now. I'll pick it back up again.
Okay, so tell me your favorite fucking scene, because then we got distracted.
Okay. So my favorite scene. Okay, this is my favorite quote of the book, and I paraphrased it a little bit. I cut out some of the unnecessary stuff. I'll take you to Shawnee's sexy corner.
Ooh.
All right, so
I'm gonna call it Shawnee's nasty corner. She about to get nasty.
Not to be confused.
Not to be confused with Bridget's sexy corner. This is Sonny's nasty.
You know me. I love the use of cum in all sorts of fashions.
Yes,
or whatever.
you do.
And I like the description of this, right? So
Yes.
I like when V says, "You just left my bed. My cum is dripping down your thighs. And you want to feel a little bad, don't you? A little wrong, a little dirty." She thinks this. How does he do this to me? He keeps drawing the dark parts of me I thought best to hide. And then he says, "You want to cum on my cock while you're still flush from what he did to you?" He pinches her clit. "And then when you're done with him, you want me to bend you over the nearest piece of furniture and bang you again? All day, Isabelle. His cock, then mine, then his again. We'll take turns tasting that pussy." And I was like, take turns. Everybody share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Let me tell you right now.
Share it. Yeah, I thought that scene was super hot.
I was like,
I love dirty talk. I mean, that's like one of the coolest things about her books in general, but also this book is the description of what's going to come up.
No pun intended.
And like in the act, you know, like the description of what's happening in the act.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like narrating for her, like, then I'm gonna fuck him in the ass, but we're not gonna let you come. We're gonna make you watch because and you're just like, oh my God, I'm dying.
That's just shit that
So
short
great.
circuits your brain. Like,
Yeah.
it takes you from
Yeah.
an intellectual to lizard brain in an instant.
Yeah.
That dirty talk.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely as they describe it, a one-handed read. Yes. For you don't.
It's a
Look at the
no-handed read,
You have
baby.
two
let me
hands.
tell you.
You have two hands. You got all the
I
hands.
got all the hands, baby. I got all of them. With one hand, I'm a pro. With two hands, it's Disneyland.
Disney. It's the fun rides. No waiting in line.
Where all your dreams come true, baby. Let me tell you.
Hilarious. You guys, I have to ask you this because you guys also read funny books. Have you ever been reading your book one-handed and then it like hits you in the face because you come and you jump on your face? Because that's happened to me before.
That has happened so many times.
Hilarious when it happens because then you're just laying there like breathing heavily and giggling because you just whacked yourself in the face with your book. Good times.
My favorite thing still, we talked about this I think once before, but my favorite thing is still to be listening to an audiobook and be on my two-handed journey and then have my partner come in and assist. Or to just be like, yo, we start, and then he'd be like, put on your audiobook, you know, or whatever.
Oh my God. Shawnee, I talked to Leo about this today. Okay. So I said, Shawnee wants me to listen to a sexy scene of an audiobook while we're having sex. And Leo goes, well, if you get to put one of your senses that you're not having sex with me, like with your ears, because you're listening to some other sex, I'm going to put on VR goggles.
No, he has to put on VR porn.
And then he goes, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
VR goggles for porn. Yeah. And then he's like, and then I'm going to be going thunk in your forehead. Thunk, thunk. And I was like, honey, this is supposed to be sexy. I was like, why don't you just set up the laptop next to us? You can watch the laptop while we're fucking. I was like, I'm fine with that. Or a phone or whatever. Then he's like, no, it has to be VR goggles. Thunk, thunk. And he kept whacking my head with the brim of his hat. And I was like, you're ruining the sexiness of this fantasy, honey.
First of all, that's funny as shit. Leo is actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Two,
yes.
I say tell Leo that one of us gets to enjoy something at a time. So you put your audiobook on and he is dedicated to your pleasure in this moment. This is your day. And then he puts the VR goggles on and you're dedicated to his pleasure on that day. You know what I'm saying?
Love this. Love this. Love this. 1-to-1.
1-to-1.
Love
you know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be equal at the moment. That's what it's kind of like 69 for me. Like 69 doesn't need to happen.
Let's take turns.
Let's take turns.
So dumb. Let's just take turns. We're putting fucking 16 trying to cram it all in 10 minutes. No, 6
So we're
turns.
both
We
going to
have
half
plenty of
enjoy
time.
this, right? Okay, great.
Yeah. I've only done that like twice, and both times I was like, this is dumb.
This
we
is
need
dumb.
to stop. And
This
this
is-
is like, it's uncomfortable. How am I supposed to focus on enjoying myself when I'm also trying to focus on making you enjoy yourself?
You know
It's
what's
too
funny
much.
though? I feel like all the things that were billed as like the hottest things when I was in high school, like 69 was the thing everybody talked about.
Of course.
You know,
Of course.
and all the things that were billed as the hottest things are the things that I'm like, no, like shower sex, 69. These are not my favorite things to do. They're like,
people in movies and television are always having sex in the shower,
Yeah.
in pools, in hot tubs. And I'm like, there's no lubrication.
No.
Because the water takes it right away.
right away. Right away.
And then you're dry as a desert because your body has closed up to trying to not let all that water in.
Yep.
So it's like, bloop. Nope. It's terrible. It's terrible.
But in
Goodness.
this book, it was juicy.
But in this book, although you know what I'm excited about?
What?
If we end up moving in 2021, I would like to have a shower that has a shower
Bench.
or like a stool
Yeah.
or whatever, like a little chair situation or a bench probably. That's not in the stream of water.
Yeah.
So we can have the sex and then immediately rinse, get all soaked up. Then we move to the bench. Then we have the sexy times, and then we move back into the water.
I like that.
This is what I would
That's
like.
on my mood board.
I like this.
I'm with you on that because
Yes.
I had this one time, long time ago, the shower at this really fancy hotel that had like, I don't know, 6 shower heads in the thing. And you could turn on which ones you wanted. And then it was totally lined with benches. And then there was a middle bench. And so you could just choose. And then it was all enclosed.
Nice.
So it became like this hot box. So you were warm
Steam room.
in
Yeah.
there. And it was nice. That was one of the best places, let me tell you, to do it. So if I could recreate that little bubble, that would.
Yeah. I also like a hand water massager
Mm-hmm.
that can be used together and separately to be included in my shower area.
Yeah.
So
And I love.
this will not be a shower for a guest. This will be a shower for me and my husband.
Yes. You know what I really want? I want
And our cleaning lady.
I want a-
poor cleaning person.
I want a bathtub that is not the shower, right? So like I
Yes,
I like
100%.
Yes. So like, and the reason is because like, you know, my partner will say like, "Hey, why don't you take a bath?" And it's like, "Well, because we've been showering in here, if I'm going to take a bath, I got to clean this. I got to make sure it's nice and clean beforehand. So it can't be so,
Sure.
and I don't want to do that every day. But I could clean out the tub.
Gotta be freestanding.
Just
Gotta be freestanding.
Totally freestanding. Also, I'd like it if it was all glass, so I could see in the shower. So I could be in the tub, that I could see my partner in the shower. And
Well, have you ever seen the wet rooms where the shower and the tub are in the same quote unquote room?
Yeah.
But there's no divider because the whole floor is a wet room. So it
That's-
has the whole floor drains.
that's what I want.
So that's what I want because then I could take a quick shower before I get in my bathtub to like clean myself.
Yeah.
Get in my bathtub. And then I like to take baths that are scalding.
Yeah, me too.
And my whole body gets incredibly red and I sweat profusely. So then I like to rinse with cold water afterwards to bring the body temperature down because I'm sweating so much. And so I would like that to all, like, I don't want to have to like worry about where I step. I want to just like get out and it's like, oh, it's fine if I'm dripping because I'm in the shower.
Yep.
Area, the wet room.
Yes,
That's cool.
That.
Guys, we have a bougie life plan. So obviously you should go to patreon.com/romance at a glance to help us live our bougie dreams. But in all seriousness,
because right now I got a
help us-
pedestal sink that's driving me crazy.
Yeah. Right now, in all seriousness, it helps us run the podcast, pay for hosting, pay for all of the, Zoom accounts and all the things that we need to run the podcast and give you guys great audio. So go to patreon.com/romance at a glance. Guys, we are explicitly awesome. So you do have to actually type it in or click the link in our bio or in the show notes because you cannot search for us on Patreon.
Nope. Okay, Bridget.
Yes.
What did you think of the storyline at the end, right? Where Ursula character
Yep. Yep.
was like, okay, in order for, like, I will have peace with your people if you go,
Right.
Do this mission for me and tell...
Bring me Ariel,
Yeah.
basically.
Go tell Ariel that I know where her boo is or somebody that she wants or whatever. And they...
Prince Eric.
Yeah,
She knows where Eric is.
that guy. And then they like, she weighs this option about it, like, oh, should I do that? But if I do, I'll be sending Ariel to certain doom, or whatever. And then they did it. And then I was like,
I was fine with it.
I was like,
Because they're all villain. Like, that's the whole point is that they're not good. They're not all good people.
yeah. Well,
And so
I mean, Bella's supposed
she
to be
basically
good.
she basically said, my father taught me family is more important than anything. So I'm willing to sacrifice this to keep my family safe.
Yeah. I don't know. I a little
was fine with it.
bit was like, I mean, I was fine with it. Like, it wasn't something that took away from the story or whatever. But I was also like, That's fucked up, girl.
That's cold. That's fucked up, girl. That's fucked up. Yeah. It is fucked up. She did go and say, like, this is a trap.
Yeah.
And Ariel's like, it doesn't matter. So she, like, went, but she, like, gave it to her straight. She wasn't like, this is a good idea. She was like, I don't think you should go, but I had to tell you.
Yeah.
And Ariel's like, I don't care. But it turns out that Ariel's gonna not be that upset about it, I don't think. So.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna all work out for her. Yeah,
it's all gonna work out in their kinkiest dreams. Guys, I haven't read that one yet, but
can you imagine?
I'm guessing there's a happily ever after.
She's getting spanked, and it's like,
and then it's like, hilarious. I hope that is on the audiobook. But I was fine with that. I actually liked so they go there. Gaeton goes with her. Beast stays to protect the kingdom, and one of the last lines of the book is like, "Let's go home to our beast." And I was like, "That's nice.
That's it. Nice.
It's your guys.
That was very nice.
It's nice." Mm-hmm. Let's take a quick break, Shawnee. Let's go take the quick break, and we'll be right back, and we'll get some ratings for you guys.
Hello, best friends. Thank you for being loyal listeners of Romance at a Glance. We're so happy to have you. If you'd like to support us further, head over to Patreon, where you can become one of our patrons. We've got a lot of great perks, such as merch and a super secret discussion group where Bridget and I talk to you directly about all things romance and all things nasty. So come on over. And now, back to our show.
What did you think of Fair Isabelle?
I thought Isabelle was... I gave Isabelle a 3.
Okay.
She wasn't my favorite. I was just like... I don't know. She fell a little flat for me in general. I think I might have wanted a little bit more from her. I thought she was a little bit whiny. That I didn't enjoy. But overall, I mean, like, solid in the middle for me, Isabelle.
Nice. I gave her a 4. I thought she was tough and lusty, like a lusty gal. Mm-hmm. She was super thrilled when they started giving it to her the way she needed it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you're not wrong.
She was like, oh, we gon' clown? Oh, we gon' clown. And also, she got to keep both her men. So I was like, props to you, sister. Mm-hmm. Props to you.
You know what it reminds me of? I was in an Uber with this black man who was about, I don't know, somewhere in his late 50s, early 60s. The fact that he's black is important to the story because you gotta visualize it.
Okay.
And I know every brown girl out there has had this moment because old dudes, they don't give a fuck. They just come at you. And so I'm in the car and he's there was some jazz music on. I was talking to him about it, whatever, and he was like all impressed about it or something. And so he starts hitting on me, and and I was like, you can't handle me. I already got 2 boyfriends. I can't do another. And he turns to me hard, like, what? Like, what? And he's like, you got 2? And I was like, I already got 2. He's like, and you don't need another one? I was like, I can't. I'm too tired. I don't need another one. He just looks at me, and then he puts his hand out for daps. He's just like, man, props to you. He just gives me daps.
Hilarious.
But I do like the sandwich aspect of MFM. And this book gave me good sandwich feels. I at least got that good from Isabelle. I did think like her sisters, she had like the sisters who were trying to come in to help her. And she was like, I got this, guys. If I needed help, I would have told you. I was like, I can't imagine telling my sisters, like, I got this. If I need help, I'll tell you. My sister would be like, bitch, if you don't back up, like, out of my face right now. I couldn't imagine talking to my sister like that.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if it was also the narrator, because in my mind, she was just like, guys, like, I got this. Back off.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. Especially because her sisters are sent her there. If I was her, I'd be like, yo, y'all sent me here to do whatever it takes. So you better back the fuck off and let me do it the way I'm going to do it.
I mean, I don't think they had that in mind when they said whatever it takes.
They said do whatever it takes.
But also,
what did they think was going to happen?
Listen.
Some kinky ass generals who she's already been fucking. They're not going to want to fuck.
But
Come on.
sisters.
Come on, buddy.
Sisters by nature and by design are always going to be all up in your business. No matter what you do. Leave me alone. Get out of my business. They're going to be like, girl, that's never going to happen. Especially my eldest sister. Like, I wouldn't even dream to be like, get out of my business. Also because she's not like a problematic sister. But she's still going to be like, what you doing? What's going on? How, whatever. Come to my house. We need to talk. So like, I mean, it made sense to me. Her sisters were all up. They were like, you didn't come back. I needed to know what you was doing. Like, and they just kidnapped her. They just took her.
No, they let her call them, though.
No, they let her call, but they just, like, scooped her at a certain point, and we're just like, we just need to figure out what's going on here. We don't have all the facts, so we're just going to scoop you.
Yeah. Yep. I was for it. I was like, you scoop me all day. Scoop
what did you
me
think of our Beast?
I gave him 5 stars.
Ooh.
I said, color me happy when the Beast was like, you know what? I'm going to keep you both. And play them to the tune of my will so they don't get scared away and I can fuck them both as much as I want. I did not like that in the past that he had her on the pedestal. However, I feel like he made up for that and I was happy that he was doming them both and I liked him. I thought he was the strongest of the 3.
I agree with you. I gave him a 5. I was like,
ooh, a Shawnee 5?
I gave him a 5. I was in between. I was like a 4.5. But I like that he was like the kind of puppeteer, the puppet master of this whole thing, and he kept his cool, and he was all like, and I feel like he had 2 people around him who were like willy nilly, like.
Yeah, he had to like manage their emotions.
Yeah, he had to manage everyone.
Yeah. He was like, oh, I better not spook Gaeton away. I better do this subtly.
Yeah.
Let me just give him a blowjob in the shower. Subtle.
He was like a Virgo he was like a Virgo with a team of Pisces. Like, he just was the rock, the solid, like, steady, or whatever, while the other 2 were in their feelings.
Yes, they were in there. So many feelings. Absolutely, they were in their feelings.
You couldn't tell me that Isabelle and Gaeton weren't water signs. You couldn't tell me.
What did you give Gaeton?
I gave Gaeton a 3. For the reason we talked about earlier. Like, there was too much hemming and hawing for me. And I felt like he could, I feel like he could have leaned into it a little bit more. He could still kind of hemmed, a little less hot and leaned in to see what, because like it also made him look kind of weaker that Beast was puppeting him into the thing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So like, I don't know.
When you had to be like convinced so much when it was like clearly working out.
Yeah.
It's like, it's obviously working. Get on board. I also gave him a 3. I thought he was angsty for me. And I didn't like that he tried to make her feel bad for her kink. And I thought he recovered well when they were playing. But I also didn't like that I guess until the very end, he didn't like come up with the play, I guess. Like, he didn't come up, like, he never to me embraced fully like what she was like and came up with the ideas of like, oh, I know she really likes shame and humiliation. Like, I'm going to come up with it and I'm going to like play into that for her. It was always Beast who was like showing him how to do that for her. And which, again, why I love the Beast. But I didn't like that. It almost felt like he still was like a little uncomfortable with her kink. I don't know. Or not uncomfortable so much as like not taking advantage of it in a way that she wanted him to.
Yeah. I also like low-key, even all the way through the end of the book, felt that Gaeton still was not fully in
there. Like, he wasn't fully in it with them. Like, he still had one little toe out the door.
Like, it just, and I feel like when you're...
I was like,
a throuple.
Sink balls deep into this throuple.
Yes,
Come on.
balls deep. I feel like when it's a throuple, you just got to really lean into that shit. Like there's no half stepping into a throuple because that's a commitment, and a balance of 4 relationships, so. But yeah, I would love to be the sandwich in a throuple. Let me tell you right now.
Yes.
Right now, I'm.
Would you like to? Here, I have a question though.
Yeah.
Would you like to be in a throuple though, or would you like to be in more? Because obviously you're already in a poly situation, but would you like to be in the throuple where they're also having sex with each other, or would you like to be in it where they're both focused on you? So like you obviously want to have sex with 2 people at once. We've talked about this on the podcast before. But do you want them to both be focused on you, or do you want them to also be having sex with each other?
So I don't care. So, I mean, not that I don't care. I care.
Shawty's like, as long as there's 2 dicks, I don't care.
I mean, I'd love for them to be focused on me, but I don't but I would love to watch them focus on each other as well, because I like to watch in general. So,
Sure.
and it's more because I'm a curious creature that I'm like, show me how you guys, how are you doing this? Yes. But then it also, to me, the one thing I found about poly, which has been really helpful, is that to diversify relationships. So, and we've talked about this, where it's like, my partner is not responsible for all my emotional needs. 1, I'm responsible, but 2, I can call my sister. I can call my girlfriend. I can call my, insert whatever. Mm-hmm. So diversifying needs is something that I have actively embraced, right? So I'm like, my partner doesn't want to watch Korean dramas with me. I'm like, oh, hey, cool. Do I have a friend? Anybody out here want to watch Korean dramas? And so the fact if my partner had another partner to satisfy sexual needs there, that would mean that I wasn't responsible for all of the, that. And also they could cuddle, they need to support each other, they whatever. And
sure.
Sometimes when you have 2 guys.
And they might be into something that you're not into.
Exactly.
And then they get to explore that in a safe space separate from you. Or maybe you get to watch, but you don't have to actually actively be involved or whatever.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So me, I had that bad experience with butt stuff. So it's not my go-to move. I know it's a really great move. It's not my go-to move because I had that really bad experience that I talked about on a previous podcast. And so that could be something that they explore together that I don't have to do.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So so I'm down for whatever. I'm in it. I definitely don't. A throuple is enough for me. Too many. I don't want a bunch of partners type situation mostly because I don't want to have to worry about. I want to be, what do you call it? Fluid bonded. So everybody within that relationship has been tested.
Yeah. And that's okay. So that's my thing about the BDSM club. I'm so into the idea of it. However, I don't think I could ever do it because I gotta think about germs and about the STDs and stuff, and I don't think I could overcome that mentally in a situation like that. She's just fucking Aurora. She don't know where Aurora's been. No. He's been fucking half the people in this room. And you're were they always using condoms? Did everyone get tested? Maybe they're this is some sort of fantasy land. Maybe there's just no diseases in this fantasy land. That's fine.
That's why I like the paranormals because they never get diseases.
Yeah, they never have diseases. Oh, we can't give it to humans. Sold.
Done.
I'm 100% sold on that. So anyways, that would be my BDSM. And even when people are talking about oh, we're swingers or oh, we go to sex parties and stuff, I'm you don't know where all these motherfuckers have been.
Yeah.
I could never do it.
See, I could only, for me, I'm sapiosexual, so I can't just go have casual sex, period. But what I could do and what I am comfortable with.
Oh, I can, and I have.
Bridget.
And I have.
I envy.
And I loved it.
I envy you so much. You have no clue because it would be really helpful.
Been a long time though.
It'd be really helpful if I could just bang shit out. Okay. I hate sometimes that I'm trapped by my brain in this process. But the one thing I could do, right, is basically control the scenario. So if there's another couple that we swing with who are also, they've been tested and they're also fluid bonded, then we set up the scenario that we meet at the BDSM club, we have an encounter, we do that whole thing and do a role-playing session versus actually it happening on the spot. No, that shit could never happen with me. Like, I'm sure other people can do it, and that's no yuck on your yum. I personally can't.
Could not do it.
Couldn't.
Yes, I agree. Can we talk about glory holes? I know you guys, we promised each other before this episode started it was going to be short and sweet, and it's not that long yet, but that we would go on no tangents, and now we've gone on like 30, but I promised they're all good ones. So I love the idea of glory holes. I think, like, the idea of them having sex with you, or you being the one and, like, using them for your own pleasure or whatnot. Or them having sex with you and you just being, like, essentially, like, restrained and, like, you have to just, like, have as many orgasms as can happen.
Which is really nice.
Love it.
Yes.
I love it. However, I would never just let all these strangers raw dog me. I'd never, not only am I monogamous with my husband, but I would never
I love
trust strangers up in this snatch.
I love the fantasy of, like,
love the fantasy of it.
I wouldn't say necessarily glory hole because that particular mechanic doesn't appeal to me. However, the idea of being blindfolded and not knowing who's fucking you,
how many people,
lots of
people,
whatever, like,
yes,
like that,
just one after another, just like,
I'm like, that's just hot. Now in real life, it would never happen. No, but like,
never happen.
That's just hot.
So hot. Okay. Obviously, this book was kinky and BDSM.
Yeah. It was nasty.
What was your McDreamy to McSteamy?
Well, my McDreamy to McSteamy was a McThruple. That was a McNasty and a McGooey. Everything about them just felt gooey. Like, everything that they did, I was like, oh, there's got to be so much juices flowing in this situation. I hope somebody's got a rag. I hope somebody's got a towel nearby. Their Lysol wipes.
They did shower off quite a bit, which I appreciated the realistic nature of that necessity, because there's a lot of jizz.
Well, yeah, that's the one thing I hear all the time, especially in historical books or whatever, is like they'll have sex and then sometimes the guy will get up and get a napkin to help clean.
Sure.
But then she pops up the next day and is out the door, and I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. Even if you clean the night before, when you actually stand up, the next day you'll have a whole new set of situation that just keep flowing, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm always like, it's very unrealistic, the cleanup process in a lot of books, or they just never talk about it.
They never go pee. They never pee after. I'm like, where are all the UTIs?
But you know me, Bridget. I never pee.
That's true.
Sorry, that's a lie.
True.
That's a lie. I pee.
Showing it's possible.
50% of the time I pee naturally. And my body goes, oh, you have to pee. Other 50% I pass the fuck out. And I don't get UTIs.
Well, good for you. I've actually, to be fair, it's possible I would never get a UTI. I just always pee. Even if I don't have to pee, I force myself to pee.
Because nobody told me that you should pee after sex. Like, that was not a thing I ever heard until I think I was in my 30s.
Although, to be fair, I have had sex and passed out for sure. Then I didn't get a UTI.
Yeah.
So it's all fine.
Like,
it's all fine.
I think it also depends on the level of sex you've had too. Sometimes, like, things be swollen down there. Things be, for real. And your body be like, go pee, go pee.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, especially if you, like, have been drinking or something and you, like, kind of have to pee, but then, like, they're smushing you in different shapes and then the pounding, and then you're like, I have to pee so bad.
So wet.
Now I will pee on these sheets, and not in the good way, in the real pee way. All right, my favorite line. Oh, wait, mine was McShame burning that house down, because her shame kink was fire.
Fire.
Mm-hmm. Okay, my favorite line in the book, aside from the ones I've already said, was actually kind of a sweet one. He grins against my mouth. I'm saying I love you and your big cock, Gaeton. It's not the same as what I feel for Isabelle, but it's all tied up together the way we are. I love you and I'm keeping you. And I was like, oh, he gonna keep you.
He gonna keep you. That's literally my love line that I always say to my partner. I'm like, I like you. I gonna keep you.
I say that to Leo. I say that to him, like, literally 5 times a week. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep you.
Or they do something good. They do something good. You're like, I'm gonna keep you.
I'm gonna keep you. I'm not gonna throw you. I'm gonna keep you. I say that to him all the time. He's like, yeah, ha ha. Where are you gonna send me? And I'm like, I'm gonna keep you. I love you. Okay, my favorite review was from Crystal. She gave it 5 stars. Mm-hmm. And she said, "Dear sweet Jesus, this book is hot," with all capitals, like fanning myself all day and hiding my screen on my lunch hour because this is not safe for work. HOT. Couldn't put it down though because the story itself is so damn good. But yeah, keep a fan close by. And I was like, "Ooh, yep.
That's hot.
Yes, it is.
That's hot.
Yes, it is."
Okay, so my review is from Mooney, and I'm going to like pick a middle section. Instead of reading the whole thing. But overall, Mooney liked the book, thought it was hot. And she really loves Beauty and the Beast retellings, okay? But in the middle, she said, however, we were kind of just placed in the middle of what's happening, and it wasn't further explained. Or rather, the characters would talk about the past, and that's fine, but it wasn't properly explained, so it kind of didn't make sense. I thought the plot, some scenes were slow, and I didn't really care for the characters because of this. I found myself skimming some parts of the book. And so in general, that's kind of how I felt, not fully like this review, but I gave it a 3-star. I think it is a solid book. It is a solid smut.
Yeah.
And it delivers, which is what a 3 is for me. It's like, it's worth the read. It delivers. However, for me, it didn't go like above and beyond because the sex kind of balanced out the fact that the story for me was not really there. But the sex is worth it. Every bit of it. The book is filled with sex. Smutty sex. Pick your best scene. Pick what you want. Pick your poison. So if that's what you need out of a book, this is the book for you. And I would recommend it. And I'd put on your quickie list and set your bookmarks because it's a 2-handed banger.
I wonder if she likes Beauty and the Beast retellings, if she was also like us and didn't read the other books. Because I wonder if we had read the first books, if it all would have made more sense.
Yeah.
And which obviously we didn't, and like we can't like go back and redo it. So it's just like, it is what it is. But I wonder if she also just likes Beauty and the Beast retellings and just didn't read any of the other books either.
I don't know, but I wonder because
out of curiosity.
I don't see anywhere, and I'm just doing a basic skim right now, but I don't see anywhere where it says like you have to read the other books. You know, it doesn't. I'm not generally seeing it's a standalone, but it looks like it's a standalone. And I'm not seeing it say like,
well, it says book number 4.
It's book number 4, but it doesn't say like best read in a series or like, and I feel like that needs to be in the description somewhere if it's required, you know, from the author. I feel like
usually a series is expected to read in order unless it says this book can be read standalone.
Got it.
Like that's the way it is. Like you assume you should read the series in order unless the author says all of the books in this series are standalone.
Got it. Well, then I would read this book in a series because it's definitely that. But,
for sure.
But whether or not, I still didn't think that this book itself had enough story.
Sure.
I felt like, you know what it is? So, like, somebody once told me a long time ago, like an ex from a long time ago, he was eating chicken and he was taking, like, tiny piece of chicken and dipping it in, like, a ton of sauce and essentially, like, sucking the sauce off, most of it, and taking tiny little nibbles of the chicken. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, no, the chicken is just a vehicle for flavor. It's just a vehicle to get the sauce to my...
The book is just a vehicle for the smut.
And that's what this book is to me. The plot, whatever, minimal, whatever. It's a vehicle for smut. Whatever she's put in there as a story is a vehicle for smut. And I think it is very juicy and it is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in between a 3 and a 4-star and I gave it 4 stars because I just like her books. I like the way she writes. I love the dirty talk. Like the book moved fast. I agree. I think it would have made more sense had we already previously read, especially like when Hook and Tinkerbell show up. Like it would have been nice to have already read their book so we knew how Gaeton fit into their sex life and their friendship too. But that said, I was all about it. Yeah. I love Katee Robert.
I love Katee Robert. I love her. I love her. I love her, love her, love her, love her.
Right after this, you guys, I'm about to go read another one of her novellas, and I'm about to be happy.
That's why I don't give a fuck.
By happy, I mean having an orgasm.
Well, also, like, something she talked about... something she talked about in her books is that, like, and in her interview, was that she's really trying to deliver the smut. She has books out there that are purely... They have no plot. She knows they have no plot. She didn't put no damn plot in it. She's just trying to give you the smut. And you can tell that from her. And I appreciate that from her. She's really upfront about that. And And
yeah, her books are erotica. Like, they are erotic.
they're erotic.
Like, she has other books that are slightly less, let's say, slightly less erotic and more like
more
longer, a little bit longer,
yeah,
a little
and
bit
more
more
story.
substantial plot wise.
Yeah.
But yeah. Especially the novellas and I feel like one thing we've talked about with novellas is like the balance between containing a story and containing the smut and balancing like what is the purpose of your novella and like what are you trying to deliver.
Yeah.
And I feel like the novellas of hers that I've read have a nice little story within them, but the purpose of it is to explore whatever the sexy times of those characters are.
Yeah.
The purpose, like they're not, I read this one novella and like they had sex, but like right at the end, and it felt like, okay, this should have just been about the feels because he didn't get there fast enough. Like, she gets in quick. And I think she does a great job of establishing the tension and the desire so quickly that even though they have sex right away, you're already like excited that they're going to have sex, if that makes sense. Which I think is, I mean, that's a hard thing to do in like 20 pages to make me excited already that the characters are going to bang. Like that's talent.
That's talent.
That's talent. She's got talent.
We want to see more from Katee Robert. So she writes a shit fuck metric ton, like you said. so we will.
She writes so much.
So much.
She writes like 60,000 words a month. That's a novel a month,
It's amazing.
basically.
It's freaking amazing.
Between like all of her different stuff that she writes. I mean, she's going to obviously keep writing. We're going to have her on the podcast again. We'll have to find a book next year that we want that will fit into one of our seasons.
Yeah, we have to just because.
Yeah, got to.
Yeah.
Have
that's
to.
How much.
Ooh,
that's
you know
how
what
much we love
should
Katee
do?
Roberts.
Yeah, maybe we'll put her in the novella season. We're thinking about doing a season that's just novellas. All right, you guys. That's all we got for you today.
That's all we got for you today.
It's time for your books to be your lover.
And your hand, your best friend.
Yowzas. Also, guys, this is the exact book that we made our tagline about. Our tagline is about one-handed reading. In case you missed it, I finally explained it to you. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening.
Subscribe to our channel to get new episodes, clips, and more.
And click here to watch our previous reviews and author interviews.